Now everybody think that they that good. You never been put in situations where you had to hold your own with 5 other platinum niggas. That's different.
Different.
In a room with full of platinum artists. That's different. Because now if your shit ain't right, niggas is looking at you like, I don't know if we're going to call this nigga for the next time we, you know what I mean? So you had to make sure that your shit was A+, which I did every time out the gate. They don't have those same responsibilities no more. And I think that's what's kind of hurting the culture when it comes to like the game evolving and actually getting better as opposed to regressing in my eyes, like sonically, you know what I'm saying?
Arkatech Beatz.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We got a special guest in the building today.
Definitely, man. This man right here, I mean, he had his hands in some serious heat. Like, he produced for Jeezy, Lil Wayne, Ghostface Killer, CL Smooth, the entire Dips. I'm talking about Jules, Cam, Jim Jones. I mean, the whole, man, for a ton of people. And so we have to welcome Rsonist of the Heatmakerz. Welcome to the show, brother.
Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank y'all for having me, man. I appreciate it.
So what I want us to do is go back to the beginning. How did you get started? Let's tell the people how you get started. How did you get the crew together? Like, you know, like just a little bit of the backstory of how everything just got launched off.
Just to make a long story short, right? So I used to DJ. I went to Howard University and I used to DJ. And I got kicked out of Howard, got into a fight with crazy fight, kind of like a brawl, to be honest with you. Got kicked out of Howard in my last year, came back home, had a baby on the way, had no clue what I was going to do musically. A friend of mine, my man Thriller, he had an MPC and he went to Trinidad for like a week and he let me hold the MPC and I learned how to use it and made 2 bullshit beats. In the midst of that, I met a dude who introduced me to this house producer named Todd Terry. Todd Terry was starting a record label, but he couldn't make hip hop beats. So he wanted hip hop beats. And I had the 2 bullshit beats or so I thought that I made. I gave it to him. He loved them. He was like, yo, how much you charging me for a beat? I didn't know what the going rate was. I just made up a number. I said, shit, give me $1,000 a beat. This nigga said, hold on. Goes into a safe in his back room, brings me back $2,000. And he was like, yo, I need more beats. I said, shit, I don't got no equipment. I borrowed this from my man. He's like, where you live at? I tell the nigga about 3 to 4 days later, he sends me like $30,000 worth of equipment. And then I was like, yo, I said, yo, what do you want in return for this? He was like, yo, whenever you make it big, man, you just owe me 2 free beats. And me and him still cool to this day. I've done music for his son. You know what I mean? Like, that's how certain things happen in my life to just let me know that music is what I'm supposed to be doing, because certain things that happen to me don't happen to people. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of times I wanted to step away from music and certain things happened that kind of reminded me like I'm kind of highly favored by somebody. You know what I mean? When it comes to music.
Go into that a little bit. Like, you know, like you said have some other thing, like you're going to step away from it. What made you want to step away from it? What brought you back?
There was a time in music when music was shifting, and I never, at that point in my career, I never went through a shift in music. Because when I came in, I was literally hot out the gate, and for like 4 years straight, just hot. You know what I'm saying? And it got to a point in time when music started to change, and like, you know, trap started to come in, and just different shit started to happen. So the type of music I made was like frowned upon, and I didn't know how to deal with that. Plus, you got to remember, around that time, the way you made money off of music was changing. That's when streaming platforms started to pop up. That's when record stores started to close down or just become pretty much extinct. You know what I'm saying? And so as a person who's pretty much been independent his whole life when it comes to the music industry, I had to figure out, where do I fit into this music industry? And at one point I felt like I didn't fit. And I was just like, maybe this is time for me to just get out of the game gracefully. You know what I'm saying? And so that might have been around 2008. I want to say I started feeling like that. You know what I'm saying? And then out of the blue, a friend of mine calls me. He's an engineer. He's like, yo, I got a dude in town. He's a big Heatmakerz fan. He wants to buy some music. And at this point, I wasn't selling music or nothing. I was kind of like disconnected from the music industry. If you really look at my work around 2007, 2008, I wasn't really doing much. I was just kind of like watching what was going on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So my homeboy calls me. He's like, yo, I got this dude in town. You know, he's a big Heatmaker fan. He wants to buy some beats. And I met her, you know, I went there kind of begrudgingly. Like, I didn't even want to go. I go there and I had like 30 beats on a flash drive and I'm playing them for, and I'm just sitting there like, yo, this dude gonna say he don't like nothing. He wasted my time. I'm making up the story in my head because this is how far removed I was from the music industry at that time. And when it was all said and done, the dude was like, and in my head, I also said, I'm gonna charge this dude more than what I normally charge, because I was just trying to ruin the deal in my head for whatever reason, because I was that bitter at the music industry. So he asked me how much I charge for a beat. I told him, a price that I probably never charged people before. I told him a crazy price. And he was like, yo, the only problem is, man, he said, I like 10 of these joints, but I only got enough cash on me for 5 right now. He said, can I bring you the rest of the bread in the morning? And I'm looking at this dude like, what? But this dude handed me like a little bag full of bread and was like, yo, man, I hit you in the morning when I go to the bank and get the rest of the bread. And at that moment, I'm like, because earlier that day, I was talking to my homeboy about what should I do next? Like, I'm trying to exit out the music game. Like, what should I do? Like, what are my options? Like, and when that happened, it was enough money for me to open my next studio and build my next studio. That's how much bread this dude gave me just because he was a fan and I just met him. You know what I'm saying? And he loved 10 of the beats and he had no problems paying. But a situation like that just lets me know, like, even when I'm trying to step away, God is like, you know what? You're supposed to be in this situation. And, I don't fight it no more.
Wow.
That's a real testament to, like you're saying, that you're supposed to be here. And I think a lot of us from the early 2000s, producers went through that transition when it switched to down south, right? When everything switched, because it was the same situation for us. We sample heavy,
right?
And then everything switched. Right. So then we find ourselves going back and forth to Atlanta.
Right.
And just trying to understand what did it mean to transition. You know what I'm saying? So it was very difficult at the time.
Here's what you got to understand, along with a lot of other producers, I feel like, because I had to figure this out myself. At some point, you got to hold the fort down. Meaning, like, if this is your flagship sound and your style, you got to stand on that. Because what happens is the industry will break you down by, this whole shit works in a cycle.
Yes.
So 1 minute trap is hot and hip hop is way, traditional hip hop is way over there. And then slowly the Griseldas of the world start to come around. Nas and Hit Boy start to come around, and now it starts to become more about rap again and what we're familiar with. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
if we stay chasing the sound, we're always going to be chasing it. At some point, you got to hold it down and say, my shit is going to come back around. Let me just perfect my craft in the meanwhile. Because if you created something, you always have those people that reach out to you like, yo, I need a specific Heatmakerz record. Like, I'm a big fan of Heatmakerz. I need that sound. Even when it's not the end thing to do, there's fans that hit me for that monthly. You know what I'm saying? Not even yearly, like monthly. Like, I'm talking about 90% of the beats that you see me put up on Instagram of me just fucking around, and I sell 90% of those.
Wow.
For thousands of dollars. We're not talking about, I'm not doing no disrespect to Beat Club or none of that. I'm not doing no $100 beats. I'm charging niggas my prices, and I'm still selling 90% of the shit I throw up. You know what I'm saying? Not even to mention the shit that you don't see on the gram. So I'm saying all that to say, I've got it to a point now where I have a fan base that they don't care about what's going on. They just want to get with me and do work with me because they appreciate the sound.
See, that comes down to your brand. You spent a lot of time perfecting your sound, your brand, and standing on that, and that goes a very long way. And that's something that upcoming producers need to kind of notice. Like chasing the sound, you can easily get lost if you're always chasing the sound or chasing a fad or chasing a trend. it's cool. It's cool if you know how to do multiple things. That's one thing. If you know how to do this type of music and do that music. But if you just if you're chasing it, day in, day out, you could, in some instances, you could just lose yourself. And then who are you?
100% right. Because I've worked with other producers who have, before we started a session, they've opened up the Billboard charts to see what's on the chart and try to mimic that. And I'm like, I don't work like that. I can't work like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's a waste of time to leave my crib to do that. Why would I do that? Like, I'm going to leave my crib to copy what somebody else just did. That means I'm not creative at that point. At that point, anybody could do that.
Right. You're not being you.
Right. So and then I'm not building nothing for the future. Like, the way that I say that people work with me now, whether I have a record out or not, that's from the work I put in the past. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these dudes, they think like, as long as I make hot records, people always fuck with me. No, they won't.
No.
Like, why would they fuck with you? There's a million niggas out here that make hot beats.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
What makes you special? That's what you got to ask yourself. What have I done in this music industry to separate me from the rest? If I haven't done anything, then it's like, I have to question that.
Yeah, absolutely right. As far as it sounds, have you had issues with like sample clearances? Because that's a major thing that we've got hit with sample clearance issues to the point where, we had to redo albums. You know what I'm saying? So, what is your take on, the sample clearance issues? And, there was a young man who's got a record that went viral just recently, and Sony just came down on him for what, $800,000?
Yeah, 800,000 on TikTok. Like
yeah.
Yeah, because he did it. He did it. See, the thing about it too is when they catch you after the record made a shitload of money, it's over for you. Your best bet is to have them to talk it out with them from the jump. You know what I'm saying? If you let them catch you after you made $5 million off the record, it's over. They're gonna take 4.5. You know what I'm saying? So again, a lot of these people don't understand it because they don't. I've been dealing with samples since 2000 and clearance samples since '99. Really, you know what I'm saying? So I've learned a lot about it over the years that I kind of stay away from the people nowadays who I know don't clear samples.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We all know certain people, like, if you touch that record, you're strictly doing it because you just want to, you just want to practice for the day. Because if you sell it to anybody, it's unclearable. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all know those records. So, but I even know the more intricate ones, the ones that a lot of people don't know about, because I've tried to get these people cleared and they've just straight up said no. Whether it was like a Maxwell, like I sampled a Maxwell joint back in the day, it was for Jewels and Ashanti on Jewel's first album. Obviously never made it to the album, but Maxwell turned the sample down. You know what I'm saying?
Does that pitch you off a little bit? Like, yo, you be making some real heat, and
it does. But I get it though, because me as a dude who a lot of people have, and it's gonna sound crazy, a lot of people have sampled my samples. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's I'm Ready, whether it's Postman, whether it's whatever it is, they've sampled my samples and try to put different drums behind it. And sometimes as the creator, it does piss you off. Because you're like, damn, nigga, like, why you didn't reach out to work with me direct? Why would you go have somebody try to flip my shit when I'm an active producer? You know what I'm saying? So I can understand from the standpoint of not wanting to hear something that you did in a way that you don't really appreciate. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I think Shaka Khan had said for years, she didn't like when she first heard Through the Wire because she didn't like to hear herself like that. And she thought he was messing up the record.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So different people got different feelings about it. It's like, we got to remember, we're sampling and we think that it's hot. But the niggas who created it, to them, it might sound like noise. Like, why the fuck you got my voice sounding like that? Or why you got this shit sped up like that or slowed down like that? Or why did you only use this piece? And you know what I'm saying? So it's a touchy subject when it comes to certain artists.
Yes, you're right. We've definitely experienced that. We definitely experienced the old not clearing it, or we clear it, but we're gonna take the whole thing.
Yeah, Barbara Mason did that to me on I'm Ready. She took everything.
Oh my God.
But guess what? It was cool because I had 10 other tracks on the album. So that record springboarded the album, and I still made a good amount of money off that album. So, I can never be mad at it. The album went platinum, and I had 11 records. You know what I'm saying? And that was my first real shit out the gate.
That's a game changer. Let me ask you, when you look back at for the time that you've been in this, what would you say was maybe like the best situation or the best negotiation that you had in terms of making a record, or what would you say would be the worst one? One that you look back and say, man, I could have did that a whole lot better.
They're kind of one and the same. And I'm gonna tell you why I say that. I did a record that Beyonce ended up taking, and the negotiation of the price was beautiful. Like that's probably the most I got paid for one track in my career. You know what I'm saying? And but then on the flip side, her father wanted to manage me. And at this time, I don't think he really knew much about hip hop, because the record I gave him didn't sound like a hip hop record. It sounded like it was some acoustic guitars, and the way I didn't even get a chance to put drums to it because they loved it the way it was. So all he heard was the acoustic guitars and the arrangement, and he loved it. He was like, "Yo, I want to sign you." And when I first went to meet up with him, he slid me a business card across the table that said 70-30. And I'm like, "What's this?" He was like, "Yo, this is your split for you and Beyonce record. My daughter Solange wrote it, and Beyonce keeps the lights on. So, we got to make sure everybody got their splits." And I'm like, "But I'm supposed to get 50%. There's no samples in it." And he was just like, he said, "Would you rather, 30%, or would you rather, not have a record?" And I'm like, so I said, "You know what? Let me think about it. I hit you back." But I already knew I wasn't going to go for that, because I don't like when people feel like they're getting over on me and like I'm stupid or some shit. I'd rather you be straightforward, like, "Yo, listen, at the end of the day, nigga, this is the only way it's going to get done, nigga. Either you do this or we not doing it." I would have appreciated that approach more than the slick, you know what I mean, slide across the across the table. So anyway, about 3 weeks later, the song gets leaked online out of nowhere. So they said they couldn't use the song for the album no more because it got leaked. And to this day, nobody knows how it got leaked. So, but we all know how it got leaked. You know what I'm saying? So it was a great experience turned into a bad experience over the course of, and this is no knock to, I'm sure Beyonce knows nothing about this. I'm sure, you know what I'm saying? But that type of shit happens.
Man, that's great.
So there's some artists now that are going through something similar. They said that they work with bigger names, and of course we've been through it where they want to take more of the publishing, because of course they're the ones that are, the take on it is that they're the ones that are putting the record out, they're publishing your work, so they're the one that's generating the income for you, so they want a piece of that pie to come back.
Right.
What's your take on it now that you've gone through that? Would you recommend to new producers coming out there that if an artist wants to take a piece of the situation for you to get your exposure, at what point should you say, "Hey, I'm gonna let that ride," or at what point should you turn it down?
To me, you gotta have good people around you that know what they're talking about. As far as like on your team, you understand? Like, you can't be the creator and the person negotiating all your shit at the same time. It's not gonna work, because you're gonna get your feelings gonna get involved. You're gonna get emotional. You're gonna start feeling a certain way about the artist because you're talking directly to. And most artists, if it's any type of artist, they're not gonna talk business with you face to face.
Right.
You're gonna have their lawyer call you, or their lawyer call your lawyer, whatever the case is. But they're not gonna speak about, the price of what they're gonna charge you, or they're just gonna have your lawyer say it. So I would just tell any new artist or any new producer, have good representation, whether that's your lawyer, whether that's your manager, somebody that knows something. A lot of these people want to put their brother in place, or put their cousin in place, or their aunt or their uncle. If these niggas don't know shit, why do you have them running your business or being a part of your business? You understand? Like, and it's no disrespect to family, but keep family and keep business. You know what I'm saying? So I guess my answer to you is, have the right people in place that know what they're talking about, and can tell you the proper time to say, "You know what? It was cool up until this point for you to charge this number, but now your number is this, and we're going to enforce this number and this percentage." You know what I'm saying?
Right. Just not to get there though. That's something that these producers need to really know. Like, what's your take on like these beat packs that's going around and sampling from the beat packs, and just like the entry for production is just so low right now. So anybody could just get a beat pack, click and drag, and they got a beat. Like, what is your whole take on that?
This episode of the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast is brought to you by our own ebooks, the Songwriter's Guide to Song Registration, the Musician's Guide to Music Copyrights, the Musician's Guide to Music Publishing, and the Ultimate Guide to Forming Your Own Music LLC. All of these books are really essential for artists, producers, musicians to really learn how to navigate the music industry and how to really make a living off of your art. So just make sure you go pick those up. Those are available at arkatechbeats.com. We're going to put a link in the description, and thank you guys for supporting.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have on one side, you got the producers that make these. Like, I made a drum pack recently for Akai, but it's like, it was for a specific purpose. I have a fan base that asked me for that. They want that certain drums, whatever the case is. That's cool. But I see a lot of these sample packs where it's like producers will make their own samples and put it out royalty free. The producers that do that, I don't know if they really know what they're doing, in the sense of the sample packs sound dope. So I'm not trying to knock the sample pack. I'm saying the amount of money that you're going to lose. Any one of those samples that you created that a person like me takes, and now let's just say I sell that record to, like, I'm supposed to be working with Machine Gun Kelly. Let's just say I take one of those joints, I sell it to Machine Gun Kelly. That record sells 3 million copies. I don't owe you nothing, but I should. You know what I mean? Like, just to keep it real with you, like, I should, because you created the vibe. I might have built on it, but you created the vibe, but you just cut yourself out the whole picture by selling this pack for $29.95. You understand what I'm saying to you? At some point, you got to say to yourself, what am I really worth? Am I worth $29.95 for giving you 45 samples, or giving you 100 samples? Is that worth $29.95? Like, was my time worth that?
Them deals be sweet. I was like, really? You letting this go?
Look, because they're looking at it like, I want to sell, if it's $29.95, I want to sell 100,000 of these shits. Right. Can that happen? Yes, it could possibly happen, but will it? Probably not. Because what's going to happen is a few niggas are going to buy it, then they're going to go to pirate sites, and it's going to be up on the pirate sites.
That's true.
So you understand, like, the only way to get away with something like that is when you have a name as a producer, you can do that, because what happens is the people that buy the packs, they don't want to give the packs away. They don't want to put it online for everybody to have it, because they look at it like, yo, I got some signature Heatmakerz drums. I'm not trying to give it to other producers to have the same drums. Even though another 500 niggas might have it, they don't look at it like that. They look at it like, I got it first. I'm gonna get to work with this shit and make some brand new shit that niggas ain't never heard before. But with the sample packs, niggas just throw them shits out.
Do you think that is what's contributing to the sound sounding so much the same? For a good time, the sound was just the same, which is all trap. It all sounded the same.
No, but you said it. You said it before. It became drag and drop. You know what I mean? Because a lot of producers, you put them in front of like an MPC or a machine or any type of hands-on machine, and these niggas look at you like you got two faces. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? They used to having the laptop, pulling up their hard drive full of sounds, dragging it in, time stretching it to fit the grid, put a already made drum loop on the grid, time stretch it to fit, and do that with all their sounds. And nowadays, the program is telling you the key of the beat, so you don't even got to figure nothing out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not knocking anybody that uses that, because I use shit like that. But I'm just saying it's not hard to learn how to get into the production space. The only thing hard now is learning how to get your music to the artist you want to get it to. Saying you're a producer, anybody can say they're a producer now. Nigga, you just got a laptop with a couple of programs and drag and drop, make a flash drive for somebody, send them some beats, you're a producer now. You know what I'm saying? So I think the quality of what we accepted has been lowered over, like, you know, for like, it was like a 6-7 year span. We accepted whatever.
Yeah, and
it felt longer than that. It really felt like almost a 15-year stretch where it's like anything go, man.
We came from a different place where it was like And again, I don't want to sound like that old nigga that's trying to preach that the past was better. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the competition level was different. A lot of the producers now don't know what it's like to sit in a room with 5 other producers and try to make the same album. Playing beats back to back, like, yo, this nigga shit is kind of crazy, man. I hope, you know, like, this nigga don't put all the rest of the spots on this album, nigga. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like trying to pick where you're gonna play music at. Like, do I go first? Do I play second? Do I wait till the last to see? You know what I mean? Like, the niggas who was with it was like, I'm ready now, nigga. What's up? Cause you like that's how I felt about my. I used to be in studio sessions, me, Buck Wild,
Speak on it. Speak on it.
a bunch of niggas, and we would all be sitting there and they'd be like, yo, who wanna go first? And Buck will tell you, nigga, I'll be one of the first niggas like, yo, what's up? I'm ready. Let's go. Because I felt like I wanted to put the pressure on these other niggas. You understand? I would tell Buck that I'm like, yo, Buck, I knew what you had, nigga. I knew you was a monster. I wanted to make sure that you understood that I was every bit as a monster as you was, nigga. You understand? Like, the timid niggas waited till last. Like, nah, go ahead, man, you go. Nah, nigga. I want to make sure that the shit I'm playing you lives with you for the rest of the day, nigga. And make these other niggas feel intimidated. Even though all these niggas might have been my niggas, it was natural competition. Nowadays, niggas, you just email shit. So when you email it, it's no, you don't got to stand behind your work, nigga. It's just, I'll send this nigga 10 beats. You can't see the nigga's reaction. He could be talking about you like a dog on the other side. Like, damn, this nigga trash. And you don't even know no more. Back then, nigga, I remember going to a Remy Ma studio session when I was trying to get on Remy's album back then. And I'm not going to say no names. She cursed out the producer before me so crazy, nigga. Like, yo, nigga, you're trash. Your shit is whack. Nigga, stop playing me this bullshit. And
Remy, boy.
As harsh as that might sound, niggas need that, nigga. You need to almost, not saying trash. I don't believe in calling anybody's work trash. But niggas need to be held accountable for what they're playing for niggas. Like, this ain't it. That ain't it. This ain't it.
Go back to the last.
This is what I'm saying to you. Because what happens is now everybody think that they that nigga. Nigga, you never been put in situations where you had to hold your own with 5 other platinum niggas. That's different.
It's different.
In a room with full of platinum artists. That's different. Because now if your shit ain't right, niggas is looking at you like, I don't know if we're going to call this nigga for the next time you know what I mean? So you had to make sure that your shit was A+, nigga, which I did every time out the gate. Niggas don't have those same responsibilities no more. And I think that's what's kind of hurting the culture when it comes to like the game evolving and actually getting better as opposed to regressing in my eyes, like sonically, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because nobody really wants to compete. If you notice, everybody wants to kind of kumbaya. Nobody really wants to compete with that situation. Nobody wants to.
I feel like that's what they got to do, nigga. Set up a room, give niggas the same sample and say, go, nigga. See who comes out of the smoke with some shit. Fuck.
Yeah, man. And we're not challenging each other as we used to. You know, like we used to go and we was, you know, Alchemist will go and you know, we'll see Rock Wilder and right. You know, we play our joints and then Sean C will come in and they play
them niggas too. Sean C and LV, those are my niggas too. So even them, like, they understand. It was that y'all niggas understand. Like it was that era, like, and I'm not trying to make it sound like that era was the best, but that era, niggas didn't run around saying they was producing. Because niggas would be like, all right, play me something.
Play me something, run spot, yeah.
Automatically, nigga, because if you was a real producer, you walk with a CD, you walk with a tape, you walk with something, nigga, to let, just in case you ran into an artist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And nowadays, those days are gone, nigga. It's like, again, nigga just feel like because he could pull out his laptop and play a couple loops, he a producer. You know what I mean? But again, it is what it is.
Man, what a time it was, you know, and I think also the best thing was it really allowed you to see what your peers was on and go back to the lab and brush up. Like, yo, I need to sharpen my shit up.
And you understood the money the money was different, nigga, because at that time I'm dealing with labels. So everything we talking about is 5 figures or better for Beatz. It wasn't no, yo, 5,000, 7,500. Nah, nigga, they understood. The talk started minimum probably around those times, like 12,500, 15,000 for me. So it was like you said, it was a beautiful time to be alive. But then as the game regressed, nigga, you gotta you know, you got to change the way you look at it. Like, I can't get 15,000 a beat no more from independent niggas. They don't, that's, for them, that's down payment on a house money. That's car money for these niggas. So you just got to restructure the way you do business. You know what I mean? And a lot of these niggas don't know how to do that. So you'll see a lot of producers from our era still trying to figure out how to survive in this shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a good place it's not a good place to be.
What do you feel about streaming as far as the percentage that producers are getting? It was also a big battle, big thing about, you know, the way getting per stream. What's your take on that?
The number is, for lack of better words, the number is I'm not even gonna curse. The number is twisted, right? It's a effed up number. But let's think about it in reality. Anything that's in surplus is usually not a high price, right? Like if you go outside, if you go to a Toyota dealership and you see 500 Camrys on the lot, usually the price is going to be pretty low. When you go to a Lamborghini dealership, you might only see one on the floor. You understand? Because they're not in surplus like that. Niggas put out songs probably, if I had to guess, I would assume a new song is uploaded once every 20 minutes or 15 minutes maybe, right? Or maybe more than that.
I think it's
right. So with that being said, how valuable can it be? We've done this to ourselves. Like, because we've oversaturated the market, they've looked at it like, nigga, why would we pay them a premium price for shit that we get every 15 minutes? You understand what I'm saying to you? So the price is bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating the price saying that is good. I'm not saying that. I'm saying let's think logically and realistically. Music is everywhere. Everybody, the nigga down the street from you is making music. The nigga up the street got a studio. The nigga, you understand, like everybody's a rapper, singer, songwriter, something. So with that being said, how can they put value on it when we're whoring it out?
But also, was saying this also, I was also talking to Jug about the same thing about it's not valuable because there's nothing tangible. Remember the experience of getting a CD or vinyl and opening it up? And
let me take it a step further for you, right? Because I have this conversation all the time. Us as musicians, you should look at yourself as superheroes. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. We sell people things that they can't see, touch, or taste, and they pay us premium money for it, right? How ill is that you get paid? I make a living off of selling people feelings. Do you know how ill that is? Like, nigga, that's the illest shit in the world, nigga. That's like the biggest con artist in the world. I get paid, I make a living. I feed my kids. I buy cars. I buy cribs, jewelry, off of giving niggas feelings. Making them feel away, making them angry, making them sad, making them whatever it is. That's what I give to them. And nowadays, it's even worse because back in the day, you got a CD, you got vinyl, you got a tape. Now you get nothing. All you get is the feeling now. Wow. You understand what I'm saying to you? So when you look at what we do, you got to put yourself on the highest pedestal. We are fucking superheroes. No other profession can say that shit. We are selling niggas feelings on a daily basis and get paid kindly to do so.
Goddamn, make it sound like we drug dealers.
Well, even the past that a drug dealer is giving you the physical drug for you, smoke, whatever. We not giving you nothing, nigga. We just saying, here, nigga, listen to this. It's gonna change your mood. You can't taste, touch, of nothing, none of that. You just know that my mood changed when I listen to this record. That's ill to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think we give each other enough credit for what we do. Like, we create a feeling out of clear blue sky. We walk into a studio with nothing on our brains and we turn the machine on and say, all right, we're going to get busy. Not knowing what we're going to do and then come up with some shit. That's like David Blaine shit, nigga. That's some magic shit. And especially if you've done it for years, it's crazy.
And you can move and influence crowds, nations.
Without you being there. My nigga, you could be sleeping in your bed and niggas could be sweating and dancing to your song in another country. Nigga, how ill is that?
Yeah.
But you created that vibe to make these niggas move. You got to look at what you do as something special, nigga. This shit is not no regular shit. This ain't being a doctor or a lawyer where you could read up on that and study shit. This shit don't come with no type of study and shit, nigga. This is, can you get what's in your brain into that machine and then get it to the people? That's it. Once you can figure out how to do that, you're a magician, nigga. You won. You graduated. You understand? Like, it's ill. I think about the shit all the time. That's why I never let nobody talk me out of this shit no more, because I understand what I do. This shit is like it's like a real life magic trick.
Yeah, that is definitely like you're changing lives, man. And you really think about it like that, like it's the soundtrack to people's lives, man.
I've had people. I remember this is years ago, nigga. I'm talking about probably 15 years ago. I met a chick, and me and her in the car just listening to music and shit. And this record I did came on. I forgot what record it was. This record I did came on, and she just started crying. And I'm like, I looked at her crazy, because it wasn't even like the type of record to make you cry. It was just, and she was like, I didn't know you did this record, and this is the first record that came on the radio when my mother passed away. Oh, she was like, so every time I hear this record, it brings me back to that. And even though I knew before, at that moment, it let me know how powerful music is. It's like, that shit stays with you for life. I hear certain records now, and it brings me back to when I was 8, 9 years old, living in my mother's. You understand? Like, so I don't take it for granted what we do, because I understand how powerful this shit is if done right. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, now that you say that, man, there are plenty of instances where we witnessed the same thing. I remember being on the train, going to the office, going loud. And, I'm sitting on the train, and this kid next to me got his headphones on, and Big Pun, Capital Punishment is blazing.
Right.
And he's mimicking the words, and he's got his eyes and shit, and he's just doing the antics. And I'm like, damn, he don't even realize that we're the producers of the song he's rapping.
And even take it a step further than that. Whether you knew it or not, you was controlling him at that moment. You made the shit that controlled him in that moment. It's almost like you're a puppeteer. You understand? It's like, he wouldn't be moving like that unless y'all created that vibe and that sound. That's powerful. You know what I mean? That's super powerful. You don't even know that, man. And you got to move to your beat. You understand? Like, that's crazy to me.
That's stuck. You got to think when that album dropped, and to this day, I see it visually. Like, stuck with us. Like, that was like, those are, to me, those are special moments. Those are magical moments, man. Because anytime you could connect with people you don't know, right, that's different through nonverbal communication. Like, you're communicating with that dude without him even knowing you, because he went into that music. You understand? Like, yeah, you think that's what's missing now, though? As far as me, actually, like, they music, because it's not getting the lyrics, like, you're getting a lot of slutty music, prostitute music. Like, what did you take on like the music that we're getting for like the last, I want to say 3 or 4 years? I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's some people have to like it for it to stay around. You know what I mean? Like, even though I know there's a conspiracy theory of certain people put music around to stay around, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we choose what we like. A video doesn't get 20 million views because 5 people liked it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're kind of the reason why music is where it is. You know what I mean? Like, I have 2 younger daughters, but one of my youngest, well, my oldest daughter, she's 24, and she'll put me on to certain songs, and it's like certain songs or vibes I might not even be into, but I understand it's a new generation. And when I was coming up, my parents, I can't even imagine them listening to Dipset. They couldn't connect with it. You understand? And that's not to say it was good or bad. That's just to say it was far out of their understanding. They couldn't even fathom what was going on. And nowadays, it's kind of the same thing with a lot of the things I hear now, where I'm like, I don't even judge it, because I know I'm not in a position to judge it, because I don't understand it. I'm not a part of that culture enough to understand it, to judge it. You understand? So a lot of the dudes from our era will be quick to make judgments like, yo, that new shit is this and it's that. It's cool. Like, if you don't like it, to me, don't listen to it. But I'm never going to make a harsh judgment on music, because the same way I felt about Dipset when a lot of people couldn't understand it is the same way a lot of these kids feel about the shit they doing now that I might not understand. Mhm.
So, I just understand that it's evolution. And, they going to do their thing. Our market is still there. It's not like it's gone. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's a message to the OGs. Like, don't hate on the new. Don't hate on the young. Like, give them their space to create.
If you don't like something, don't listen. Like, it's simple. It's kind of like
Really?
Instagram. You don't like somebody's page, don't go on it.
Right.
What's so hard about that?
But at the same time, I also feel like some OGs need to continue putting out work, continue putting out their music.
Yes.
And if
Their music. That's the
Right.
point. The emphasis on that. Their music,
Their
not this shit that's going on now. Their music.
And if they feel are threatened by the way things are going, then put out artists that you feel is of your caliber. Like go behind those. Put out young artists that fuck with you.
They don't want to get out the game. They don't want to. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They don't want to take that dude off the bench and put themselves on the bench. They don't want to do that. They still feel like they have gas left in the tank. And, more power to them. But I feel like what you're saying is 100% correct. I feel like at some point, you got to direct your energy into the younger generation because you've kind of taken your career as far as it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? You can still do your shows and you got your fan base and all of that. But as far as trying to make another classic album for some of these artists, it's like, why not put that same energy behind somebody who can actually go at this point in time in music? Like there's an unwritten rule in music, almost like when you get to a certain age as an artist, it's almost like you get put into a certain box. Like if you don't have a specific audience at that age, it's hard to get a younger demographic when you're in your mid to late 40s trying to be a rapper still. You know what I mean? It's difficult.
I think a lot of these guys should just do them. Like you see Nas just doing him. You know what I'm saying? Like
Nas is also Nas. You know what I mean? Like he's in the elite as far as like, it's like if Jay-Z decided to put out an album once every 4 years, we would still fuck with it because it's Jay-Z.
Right.
But a lot of these other artists, their fan base has forgotten about them. As nice as they was, it's like they haven't put out their type of music in so long that their fan base kind of went elsewhere.
So consistency is important.
Yeah, and also to be real with yourself, you got to understand at a certain age, your fan base now has kids and grandkids.
It is.
So they can't pay the same attention to your music that they used to. You know what I'm saying? So in a lot of artists, I think they neglect that as far as that feeling goes because they try to convince themselves like, yo, I could still get the same amount of shows. I could still bring out the same amount of people to a venue. You probably can't because the people that you would bring out, they're with their families now. They're doing real life shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
So it's you got to learn how to transition into other shit. Like if you look at 50 Cent said, all right, cool. I'm a huge musician. I see the shit dying down a little bit. Let me get into TV and film and murder that. And you know what I'm saying? He made a killing off of that because he realized that evolution-wise, that was the next step for him.
That's an interesting take. Do you think that artists that start getting to that age, do you think they should all just leave the game, or do you think
Nah, don't.
Or they're finding new ways
Right.
of making music, but at the same time, like the content should be of age?
Yes. I believe that. I'm not saying rap about old shit. I'm saying if you're at a certain age, stop. Don't tell me you're going to spin the block. You understand? Like, nigga, you got grandkids at this point. You're not spinning the block. Stop it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just think your music should be age appropriate. Like, I'm not saying rap about old shit. I'm saying rap about what's going on in your life. Because if you're a good writer, you can find ways to make your life sound interesting no matter what's going on. If you're a good writer, you know what I'm saying? And you can pick good music.
Right.
And I think that's what's missing. I think that's what's missing where people don't want to write, don't want to make the music where they currently are. Right? Like that's
And I
when
think what's missing too is a lot of producer artist albums. Like where one producer does full projects for artists. I think that's missing because at that point, somebody can give you everything that you need as far as the vibes of the songs go. You know what I'm saying? When you work with different producers, every producer wants to just give you their hottest beat.
Right.
And sometimes that's not what you need to make a classic album. Sometimes you need a variation of music to round out the album. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's always best when when an artist can work with one producer or one production team and get the job done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely like some of the classic albums. Whether it's Mobb Deep, whether it's Wu-Tang, whether it's
Dre Day.
Yeah, like so yeah, I definitely agree with that. And also, like you said, like older artists, rapping about things that are not age appropriate to me just doesn't make any kind of sense. Like, I don't want to hear you talking about you spinning the block, like you said. And it's, it shows that like this is not real. It actually shows, and it affects the music. And it just, you look at artists like, because there are a couple of artists that dropped recently. I'm not going to say their names, and there's lyrics, but then when they're talking about the same old on the block, the same old references, shoot them up, and this and that, and it's like, come on, dude, you're 40 plus. Like, give me some jewels. Like, give us some food, like some real stuff that's gonna move us, encourage us.
A lot of artists are scared to lose their fan base too, because they feel like this is what their fans want from them, and they feel like if they switch it up, their fans are gonna abandon them. So they try to they try to stick to the script. I mean, I don't know if I'd call it out of touch. I would just call it they're nervous. You know what I mean? Because they feel like what they built, they don't want to lose over one album. You know what I mean? But they don't understand that their fans would appreciate the growth. Pause.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. It's like what you said earlier, man. Just stick to you, what you're doing. Be truthful to what you're doing. Stay in your lane, doing what you're doing, and being truthful. And I think the fans will see that and be able to grow, because us older, like 40 plus, we want to hear new dope music. Right. We don't have to be. We don't want to be forced to listen to a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old. Like. Right. That's not what we want to listen to. We want to listen to people in that age giving us some jewels, giving us some real shit that we can appreciate. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with that.
Right. With that being said, it's a good segue into, I just finished a project with Joel Ortiz called War, with all respect. That should be out by like probably late summer. But it's everything we talking about. Like, it's a grown man's album where he's talking about what's going on in his life now. Things that happened to him when he was a kid that he probably never dealt with. Like, just fire shit. You know what I'm saying? From top to bottom, there's no wasted records. We didn't make a record about nothing. You know what I mean? Like, every record has a direction with it. You know what I'm saying? If you know Joel, when it comes to lyrics, he's top of the food chain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is nothing short of that. And, musically, I gave him top of the line shit. So
when is that coming out?
Probably late summer, maybe August. You know what I'm saying? If not August, the latest would probably be early fall, like September type shit. But we just trying to get the whole marketing plan together for this shit now and how we want to approach that. But the album's incredible, man. Any other two niggas do this album, they win a Grammy for this shit. Just to let y'all know what type of vibe this shit is on.
What's your take on this Kendrick Drake battle? Being that's the thing right now.
I like what both did, but I feel like right now, and as we're filming this, because Kendrick dropped yesterday,
right?
I think Kendrick got him right now, just because if Kendrick's song was 6 minutes and 23 seconds, that nigga directed 6 minutes and 18 seconds towards Drake, and the other 5 seconds was just Yachty and Cole that he set a bar for each. But what I like about it, not only did he switch up the music 3 times, but the nigga stayed on topic for the whole shit. He did not veer off and start talking about some other shit. If them shits was bullets, he shot him for 6 minutes straight. You know what I'm saying? And I like what Drake did. I'm not trying to downplay what Drake did. I think what Drake did was dope, but I feel like Drake was shooting at about 7 people. Yeah. Kendrick shot at him. He took one quick shot at J. Cole and one quick shot at Yachty and kept it moving. But everything else was Drake. So I think right now Kendrick got it. If I had to pick which one is winning right now, I'd have to pick Kendrick.
This is exciting though. It hasn't been this exciting in hip hop for a long time. People having conversations about bars and lyrics and what's being said. people are calling each other and say, "Hey, did you hear this? Did you hear that?" And that hasn't happened probably since Ether and Tickle.
No, I feel like that happened with even though it wasn't this type of rap, but it did happen with Pusha T and Drake as far as like.
Yes.
But Pusha T was more just disrespectful. Like this
was it ever?
He said some of the most disrespectful shit in there. But so this shit wasn't really about bars. It was more so about him making a disrespectful story rhyme. You know what I'm saying? It what his shit was about.
Definitely.
But
just to pivot a little bit, because you know we do like to try to give some more insight and stuff to new artists, new producers, new people coming into the music game. If you had to give any advice to new producers coming in now, 2024, you know, what would be like the top 3 things that you would give them as far as jewels and Scar to get in this game right now?
I mean, one, it would depend on what they're trying to get out of the music game. If they come to me and say, yo, I want to be a producer because I can make a lot of money and da-da-da-da-da, I'm going to tell them, quit today. It's over. Because if your main goal to get in is about money, leave now. Because you might not see money for 10 years, if we want to be real. You know what I'm saying? But if you truly wanted to get in the game and this is what you love to do, my advice to you is the minute you stop caring about what people feel about or how people feel about your music is the minute that you win. You understand? A lot of people, they care too much. I tell niggas that all the time, even as artists, like rappers. Y'all niggas care too much. Y'all make a song. Hold on, man. My shit's going. Let me turn my fucking.
Your demands.
But or is that my laptop? Anyway, a lot of these dudes, they care too much. What happens is they'll put shit out, and then after they put it out, they're looking online, see how people felt about it. People, if it don't get the right response, they take it down or they questioning themselves, like, no, I knew I wasn't the one. Let's go with this one. And this is the best example I can make when I say shit like this. As the artist who has fans, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'll explain. What do you care about how your fans feel about the music you make? And here's the reason why I say this. If you go to the doctor, does your doctor ask your opinion about what medication he should give you? Or does he just give you what he feels is best for you?
Right.
Right? If your doctor started to ask for your opinion on his surgery as far as what he should do, would he still be your doctor?
Nah, you would lose faith in him.
This is my point. A lot of the dudes in the music industry, and this goes back to answering your question as far as like up and coming artists and producers, stop putting your creativity in other people's hands. Basically saying, what do you want from me? It's not up to them. It's up to you. You're leading this whole show. You'll dictate what they want from you. You understand? I think that's where the game got messed up. Is like people looking at it like, all right, but what are the fans like? What is this person like? What is that person like? Nobody cares about that. At the end of the day, they're looking for you to give them what they're going to find out later that they like. Like, oh shit, I ain't gonna lie, this shit is the truth. Meanwhile, they didn't feel that way when it first came out, but after they heard it 2 or 3 times, they're like, nah, I was bugging. This shit is crazy. But had you would listen to them the first time around, you delete the shit, you questioning yourself. You can't make the fan be in charge. They're fans for a reason. When you go to a football game, a baseball game, a basketball game, these niggas are fans. You understand? You're fans watching these niggas play. So at the end of the day, it's like, they don't come to you and be like, yo, what do you think I should do? Lay it up? You think I should dunk this one? Nah, they're gonna do what they do, and you're just gonna be a fan.
Right.
Why is it when it comes to music, all of a sudden, we rely on the fans to give us the vibe or to tell us what's hot? We tell them what's hot. Wow. That's where the game got fucked up. We're in charge here, not these niggas.
That's a good take.
Fans, understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah. If you go in your studio, none of your fans know how to use none of that equipment. They walk in there, they like a deer in headlights, like, oh shit, there's a bunch of buttons. Because you're manning this whole ship. You understand how this goes? Like, you're the one that's flying this whole shit. What do you care about how the passengers feel? As long as you get them to where they need to get to. Nothing else matters.
Right.
You understand? So my advice to the new up-and-coming dudes is stop worrying about what people say because it don't matter. You're the one that's in charge when it comes to all of this.
That's the jewel right there. That's a hell of a jewel right there, because it's like a lot of people will be out there just trying to chase what the fans is trying to tell them to do.
They chase.
And I think and I think when you say it like that, and when you think about the artists who are still doing it to this day from yesteryear,
right.
it's because they don't give a fuck with the fans that they put out what they want to
Let
put
me
out.
ask you a question. You think Kanye give a shit what the fans like and don't like, or he just know what Kanye loves?
No, yep,
That's it.
that's it.
That's the answer. Because guess what? When you move a certain way and the fans see you moving a certain way, they almost feel like they got to fall in line. Like, oh, nah,
But they have to.
this shit is crazy. This shit might be crazy, nigga. Yeah, I fuck with this nigga. Like, I watched so many niggas' reaction to the Kendrick diss yesterday. And I watched as the song was going along and he was saying more and more crazy shit about Drake. I'm watching the niggas doing the reaction videos, getting more and more hype because Kendrick was making them more and more hype with the way he was doing the song. It goes back to my point. Kendrick is in charge at that point. He's dictating how the listeners feel about the record as he's delivering it. You understand? Like, and he knows that. He's not waiting on the fans to give him the okay. He already gave himself the okay in the studio. Like, nah, nigga, this is crazy on my standards. By my standards, this is crazy. So this shit gonna fly. He don't give a fuck if the fans love it or not, nigga. He's in charge.
Do you think Drake is gonna respond and come with that heat?
He has to. There's not whether he's going to or not. He has to. You can't go smack a nigga, then he punches the shit out of you and now you walk off. Nah, nigga, you smacked him first, nigga. Be ready for the repercussions. Unless you was smacking a nigga thinking he wasn't gonna hit you back.
I think he thought he wasn't gonna hit him back.
But he was
to a
bugging.
degree. He was disrespectful with the Tupac
And
verse.
here's the thing that's crazy about this beef is that this is probably one of the first time that Drake's been beefing with a nigga who's on an equal level playing field with him when it comes to notoriety in rap. Not saying notoriety overall, because I do believe that Drake is the bigger artist worldwide. But when we're talking about on a rap level,
Is it?
Drake can't say he's above Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? He can't say that. And vice versa. They're both kind of like right here when it comes to the rap scene. And along with J. Cole and all of that. You know what I'm saying?
What'd you think about J. Cole bowing out?
I thought that was kind of crazy. And again, he might have his own personal reasons, but I just feel like it's kind of crazy. You can't claim to be the best for years and say it on multiple records and songs. And then when it comes time to prove it, you say I was bugging and I don't know what I was doing. Like, that's kind of like, what, nigga? Like, that's what happened last night for me. You make you change your mind in 24 hours, nigga. Like, did somebody threaten you? Like, what happened? I don't know what the fuck happened, but
Do you think that's gonna hurt him moving forward as far as his fan base? And
I just feel like he can't talk about being the best no more. It won't hurt him as far as making records go because he's still nice as fuck. You know what I mean? You can't take that from J. Cole, but
right.
I don't want to hear you talk about that I'm the best and nobody can fuck with me no more. Like, you lost all rights to say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm into boxing, right? So it's like a boxer saying he's the best, and then he gets challenged by another dude who said he's the best, and then you talk shit for a while, and the nigga says, all right, let's make the fight. And you're like, you know what? I was bugging, man. Let me, I'll just go back to my gym and chill, man. I should have never said nothing to you. I was bugging. Like, that's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying?
That sound like the whole
violent shit.
That sound like the whole boxing guys right now. Nobody want to fight each other. They're talking about it, but they don't want to really fight.
And homeboy, not to get into boxing, but homeboy from the Middle East, Turkey al-Sheikh, he gonna make sure all these niggas fight. He paid for it right now.
I see it. I see you got Terrence. You got Terrence in that fight now.
Yeah, but if Terrence win, they trying to line up the fight with. They gonna have Boots move up to 154 and have him fight Boots at 154, which would be kind of fire.
Yeah.
Who you got on that one? Crawford, right?
I can never doubt Crawford again because I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna front. No, I apologize to Crawford, man. I had Spence for the Crawford fight, and the way that nigga beat Spence into fucking submission, man, I felt bad that I was watching the fight with the Spence t-shirt on, nigga. I'm in the studio, me and three of my homeboys. I got the Spence t-shirt. I'm talking wild shit, and this nigga was getting beat across this side of the ring. That's why. I can't bet against Crawford.
Nah, I totally agree with you on that one, man. On a final note, man, again, we got to give you your flowers. You got to give you your flowers and for your contribution to this hip hop. hip hop thing, man, and not giving enough producers like yourself the flowers, the contribution, how you are really the architect, really behind some of the biggest movements in music, classic records. You know, it's like too many of us sometimes. It's like kind of like, oh, you know, the producer did it, and not realizing that we were the ones that stood up all night trying to get it to sound the way that they get the consumer gets to hear it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we want to make sure that you are getting the flowers, man, and that you're appreciated in your contribution to this thing, man.
We salute you.
Guys, man. And say, you know, give y'all your flowers too, man. Y'all hold a spot in this music industry. So, you know, let's not forget that. You know, y'all put in your fair share, work with legends. So all respect to y'all too, man, for a fact.
Thank you, man. Anything you want to leave off with on the final note? Anything else?
Just be on the lookout for with all respect, War with me and Joel Ortiz. Be on the lookout for. Well, I started working on a project with Locksmith. Me and Locksmith are gonna do a maybe like a 7-song EP.
Okay.
I did a 7-song EP with I think it's 7 songs with King Streets. He signed a gym. Me and him about to put something out probably like within the next few months. Another artist by the name of iBorn from Mount Vernon. Another artist by the name of The Street Deacon Wise. His story's crazy. We did an EP together. So my whole thing is now I'm just trying to do strictly projects where I produce everything because I'm into ownership now. You know what I mean? I don't want the crumbs off of records no more. I want, you know, if records move, I want to see something. And I don't want to look at my check like, what the fuck is this? I want like El Capo, you know what I mean? El Capo right now is up to 130 million streams. I'm 25% owner of that. You know what I mean? So that's the type of shit I'm trying to do now.
So on a producer level, when you say 25%, we're talking about 25% of the master, right?
Of the masters, not the
master.
Masters. So if that shit sells, it makes $1 million, I get $250,000. You understand? Like, so that type of shit. So that's what I'm into now because anything else makes no sense. You know, I'm into I want to make classic bodies of work so that they last long and I can see residuals for a long time.
Right.
I don't want something that you listen to today and you discard tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So I'll put the extra time in and I work with artists that it makes sense, like a Joel Ortiz who has a built-in fan base and his fans are kind of like mine. You know what I mean? They want us to consistently put shit out. And if we do that, they will support. So my whole goal with the War thing is to turn it into a series. You know what I'm saying? So we can actually put out projects, whether it's 2 War projects a year and, you know what I mean? And build up a nice foundation off of that when it comes to just something we can consistently make residual money off of.
What's your take on that argument that people say that the producer shouldn't be entitled to a portion of the master because the artist is promoting it, and like there's this conversation online when they talk about producers. Yeah, the producer should get the publishing, but they shouldn't be entitled to the master recording because they have to pay to promote it and so forth and so on. But I'm where you're at with it, but I want to just kind of get your take.
Those are people that don't know shit. That's the only way I could put it. I can't really expound on it anymore because to me that's just nonsense talk. Yeah. Like you sound crazy. Like I pretty much created the foundation for this record, but I don't deserve a portion of it. What do you mean? So I'm just supposed to take the smallest percentage possible from this side, but on the master side, I'm not supposed to get nothing. Like, come on, you sound crazy. How many people are listening to the record because of me? Because of my production, because of my sound. You understand? Like, so of course that argument never made sense to me. I don't even entertain those arguments when people bring it up in the studio. It's like, what are you talking about? So only the record label who had nothing to do with the record other than put it out and the artists are supposed to get piece of the master. Meanwhile, the record label is going to take a majority of it. So y'all cool with that? Because the standard deal back in like the late 90s, early 2000s was like 88-12. 88 for the label, 12 for the artist. And then when you think about how ill that is, if somebody gave you $1 million advance, you got to pay that $1 million back off of your 12%.
Yep. Yeah.
So if the label just made $1 million first week off of your album, you paid back $120,000. You understand? Like And then guess what? They're gonna take that 120,000 and keep it because you owe them that, and now you still owe these niggas 880,000.
Right.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry, my brother. Somebody's downstairs in my studio. Yo, you downstairs? All right, I'm gonna hit you right back. I'm just doing an interview online. Hit you right back. All right. Yeah, my fault.
Now you good.
But it would be a hip hop sin if we had you on a show and I don't ask you this question: is there any chance of you linking back up with the Dips to create a new album or a new something? Any chance of that?
I'll be honest with you, since we're being honest with each other. If we're gonna put it on 100% scale, and I'm down with it. I'm not trying to say like I'm not down with it, but as far as it really happening for real, I would say 8% maybe. And that's being generous. I'm not saying I couldn't do work with every individual member, but as far as them coming together to like it being organized for them to like be on board to do another album, I don't know.
So what's the most realistic thing? A you and Cam album, or you and Jim album, or you and Jewel's album? Or
me and Jim did El Capo, so that's off my bucket list. We did that. Me and Jewel's, since he came home, we've been talking about doing it. And like I've sent him multiple records. He said he's recorded to it. I don't know, I haven't heard it. But me and Jewel's could be really that could be something that could happen. That can be realistic. But Cam, I think just because of how busy Cam is, I don't even know if Cam's brain is focused on music at the moment. So I don't know how realistic that is.
Because he did drop a record or two, like loose out there, that one was with Swiss, and it really felt like,
that was for Kith. They did that for like a Kith promo. But as far as like Cam putting out I think what Cam will do is every now and again, Cam will go on his computer and figure out records that he recorded, he never put out, and just put them together and drop a project. But I don't think Cam has sat down to put together a project in years, as far as like making new records for the purpose of doing this album. I think it was like Purple Haze 2 might have been the last time he did that.
Wow. Well, there you go, hip hop fans. I mean, who knows? Anything could happen. Yeah, we say this now, but things could change, man. We could put things in the air and,
Oh, yeah, you never know, man. Who knows? Anything is probably, because I do know if the right bag, because like if the big enough Heatmakerz fan came along and had the right bag, I know that they all down to do it for a fact. So if any Dipset enthusiast sees this shit out there and you got the bag to spend on another Dipset album, like the bag though, not the,
Yeah.
I know all the members would be with it.
So that can be something that we can really talk about too. It's like, hey man, let's like the fans could actually crowdfund it.
Right? Yeah, shit. You're right.
Right? Like because the demand is there. So should we set up something to where we can say, hey, who wants the Dipset back with the Heatmakerz? Who wants the album? Let's crowdfund it. Let's get the money. And get everybody back in the room. Like this is 2024. Like you ain't got to wait for not one person to fund it. Fans could fund it, just your pre-order, fund it up.
Look, you got Arthur. Thank you.
You know what I'm thinking in my head? I'm like, I know the number that Cam won is probably astronomical, so this shit might not even be able to be funded. Probably got to be funded just for Cam.
We appreciate you, my brother. Like we really do, man. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story, man. Just we appreciate it, man. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rsonist Heatmakerz.
Give them your IG and how people.
Yeah, just give them the information where they can find you.
It's official Heatmakerz with a Z. That's it on IG. That's one of the few places I respond. That's where we linked up. Yeah. Just hit me on IG. If y'all hit me the right way, I respond. I just don't respond to fuckery, but other than that, I respond.
All right, there we have.
Appreciate you, brother. Just hold tight for us, everybody. Thank you for watching. Until next time, everybody, be peace.
Peace.
Arkatech.